move the motion, I call the Prime Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I beg to move the motion on the order paper in my name and that of my right honourable friends. That motion confronts every member of this House with a clear and simple opportunity. A chance to vote for a general election that will secure the strong and stable leadership the country needs to see us through Brexit and beyond. It invites each one of us to do the right thing for Britain and to vote for an election that is in our country's national interest. Right. At the same time, we have delivered on the mandate we were handed by the referendum result by triggering Article 50 before the end of March, as we pledged to do. As a result, Britain is leaving the EU and there can be no turning back. Today, we face a new question: how best to secure the stability and certainty we need over the long term in order to get the right deal for Britain in Brexit negotiations and make the most of the opportunities ahead. And I've come to the conclusion that the answer to that question is to hold a general election now, in this window of opportunity before the negotiations begin. I believe it is in Britain's national interest to hold an election now. A general election is the best way to strengthen Britain's hand in the negotiations ahead, because securing the right deal for Britain is my priority, and I'm confident that we have the plan to do it.
Very grateful to the Prime Minister for giving way, and I can understand that she wants to give the House the opportunity to determine whether there should be an election. But if the House then determines that now is the time, why is it that the Prime Minister stands in the face of the Scottish Parliament and the Scottish Government that have voted for a referendum on Scotland's future? If it's right that the people here have a voice and a vote on the future of this country, why shouldn't the Scottish people be given the vote as well?
I believe this delivers on the will of the British people, our plan for Brexit. It's the right approach for Britain, and it will deliver a more secure future for our country and a better deal for all our people.
I can see how it suits the Prime Minister's purposes to make this election all about Brexit. But can she accept the possibility that it may just become a referendum on her brutal cuts, which have left older people without care, schools sending begging letters to parents, and a record number of homeless people on the streets?
I have set out the divisions that have become clear on this issue. They can and will be used against us, weakening our hand in the negotiations to come, and we must not let that happen. I believe that at this moment of enormous national significance, there should be unity here in Westminster, not division. And that's why it's the right and responsible thing for all of us here today to vote for a general election, to make our respective cases to the country, and then to respect the result and the mandate it provides to give Britain the strongest possible hand in the negotiations to come. I wait to the honourable gentleman.
Very grateful. In the last election, the Conservatives gave a manifesto commitment to stay in the single market. Will she be withdrawing that commitment in the new manifesto? And if she does, won't that weaken her negotiating position as well as removing 2 months from the negotiation window?
Waiting to hold the next election in 2020 as scheduled would mean the negotiations would reach their most difficult and sensitive stage, just as an election was looming on the horizon. A general election will provide the country with 5 years of strong and stable leadership to see us through the negotiations and ensure we're able to go on to make a success as a result. And that is crucial. That is the test. It's not solely about how we leave the European Union, but what we do with the opportunity that Brexit provides that counts.
On the timetable before yesterday, the Prime Minister would have concluded her negotiation by 2019. We would have gone into the general election 2020 on a year later talking about the Prime Minister's deal. That would have given the country an outlook as to what they would be voting for. The Prime Minister is asking the country to strengthen her hand. What she's actually doing, does she not agree, is asking the country to vote for a blank cheque.
No, we're not asking the country to write a blank cheque. We've been very clear about what we intend in terms of the outcome of the negotiations. I set that out in my Lancaster House speech in January. It's been set out in the White Paper. It's been set out in the Article 50 letter that when we triggered Article 50 and submitted that to the President of the European Council.